Disney is no longer happy? Yes, Bob Iger himself and Disney have been trying to get Ryan Reynolds to drop this nonsense. This is all absolutely valid. This is not...
Ryan Reynolds might be lamenting getting married. Blake Lively, as that decision apparently cost him all of his Disney status. Marvel as well. What began as a subtle danger to his reputation fast developed into a successful career. Collapse, with Disney formally cutting ties and terminating his participation once and for everyone. Andy was correct. No studio desires to back someone involved in legal disputes, brand pandemonium, and blackmail rumors. For this reason, on May 15, 2025, Ryan Reynolds appeared at Burbank Disney headquarters anticipating a typical check-in. Instead, he received a corporate reality check. Sources within Disney affirmed that Bob Iger called the meeting in person, and it wasn't about promoting for Deadpool or future stages of Marvel. It was an intervention, a caution, and what insiders refer to it as a last opportunity. Several sources, including 2 from Disney and Marvel Studios Legal, has verified Iger's message. Reynolds sever relations with Blake Lively subpoena controversy right away within 72 hours, or risk being fired. There were obvious repercussions, like losing access to promotions, be taken out of Marvel's roadmap for Phase 6, and potentially endanger all upcoming partnerships alongside Disney. Reynolds' professional life was on the line all of a sudden. It's Ryan's case. You are unable to simply distribute your power and maintain insisting that it be pointless and to leave away, and you're completely disconnected. That's why this was more than a studio executive. Overreaction to rumors in the media. Disney's legal department had been keeping an eye on the weeks-long intensifying media maelstrom. However, following May 14th, things took a turn for the worst. Court documents were made public. The documents revealed startling allegations regarding Blake Lively's legal strategies, such as Taylor's alleged blackmail Swift's personal messages. As Reynolds wasn't specifically mentioned, his function as Blake's spouse, business associate, and he became a public advocate right away. High-risk number. You're not required to be liable for being guilty. According to an internal Disney source, once after the affidavit was dismissed, Reynolds from yellow flag to red. The danger was harsh and instantaneous. This case was initiated by you people. Let's not remember, it was you who initiated the legal action. What exactly does yellow flagged mean in terms of Disney? As per a leaked Marvel's internal risk. Report Marketing Group, it's the studio's alert mechanism for dangers to one's reputation. Reynolds was identified as possibly detrimental to brand perception as early as April because he declined to comment on Blake Lively's growing legal turmoil and his mysterious posts on social media, which some people perceived as indirect assistance for her. However, following the swift, vibrant bombshell, Disney was no longer able to play nicely. Thus, during that, Bob Iger didn't hold back when they met. After the sit-down claim, sources were briefed. You either clean up, Iger said to Reynolds, your picture quickly, or let us clean it. By removing you from each appearance, we have a prepared poster and advertisement. Metaphor. By May 16th, Reynolds' name had been removed from at least 2 significant lists of press events, like as Marvel's scheduled Deadpool 3 reveal schedule. And a Good Morning America is scheduled. Appearance. Disney allegedly put a halt to all Reynolds-focused advertising for Deadpool 3, focusing on Josh Brolin, Lesserk, and Zazie Beetz members of the known cast. Such a pivot doesn't occur until corporate. The leadership believes that these circumstances are highly serious. The atmosphere at Marvel is tense. Speaking as one assistant producer. Stated anonymously, Kevin Feige didn't want way. He battled to maintain Ryan's participation. However, Bob Iger has the last say, and that the legal staff was in agreement, and Reynolds was... What tipped the scales? They were too intertwined, internal communications displaying Reynolds talking about Blake's legal predicament with external parties, especially a former Marvel consultant is currently facing a crisis. Disney saw this as a warning sign. Not illegal, but sufficient to increase issues with narrative management behind the scenes, according to Reynolds attempted to resist during the meeting. So, you want me to give up my wife to keep Deadpool alive? The answer was cold. We'd like you to keep your private life from our company. That's the work. Since then, Reynolds has kept quiet in public. No tweets, no Instagram stories, and most significantly, he canceled a scheduled news conference for a Hulu spin-off that his business co-produced, Maximum Effort, supported in part by Disney. Confirmed legal ties with Hulu projects from Reynolds are being reviewed, and talks about innovative changes in order to avoid PR or legal issues are Disney is completely damaged. Control. An additional Marvel source verified that all promotional materials Reynolds, digital banners, trailers, and goods are being evaluated. A significant toy partner was told to postpone Deadpool's shipment miniatures that resemble Reynolds until another observation. The velocity of these movements is startling. Reynolds was among Disney's most valuable assets, include Deadpool 2, made more than $7 to $85 million worldwide. His brand used to seem impervious, yet when corporate behemoths feel intimidated, allegiance becomes optional and the image takes center stage. According to reports, the Reynolds team renegotiating his deal with Marvel, examining early departure provisions and legal safeguards. Perhaps a silent departure agreement in which all parties concur that to publicly disparage one another. It's not simply about public relations. Business survival that on May 17th, internal Marvel Studios records from 2025 verified that a formal complaint had been filed against Reynolds over alleged non-disclosure agreement infractions. This was not a singular caution. A structured report that is sent via Disney's legal department, citing unauthorized onset disclosures relationships and character-related elements from Deadpool 3's main photography. A close source claims to the legal counsel at Marvel, the internal review started on May 3rd, but it became worse. Following the discovery of text message evidence in a court document related to the ongoing court records in the lively Baldwin. Case filed by lawyer Jason on May 14th, Breen, a well-known acquaintance of Justin Baldoni, provided screenshots of purported correspondence between Reynolds and Baldwin's opposition group. Correspondence between March 18th and on April 2nd, 2025, talked about the dynamics of Deadpool 3 in Vancouver set. One message mentioned a senior crew member as a bait dog for the media, implying Reynolds might have shared derogatory comments from discussions about secret scripts. Disney's legal counsel took action within 48 hours. A briefing memo from May 16th was examined by Deadline and subsequently verified to Variety described possible violations of the franchise clause's defamation. Reynolds' Marvel talent is ingrained in deal that was implemented following the 2019 Scarlett Johansson's settlement provision permits Disney to withhold bonuses, stop promotions, or file a lawsuit against talent if leaks from outside sources harm the story honesty or the goodwill of the franchise. The issue was made worse by Reynolds' timing. The conversations took place during direct, active principal photography in opposition to a non-inference words in his contract. This wasn't all about rumors. Disney evaluated Reynolds' participation as a reputational danger. Yellow flagging him implied now he was on the corporate radar as a potential risk. Following the quick, vivacious bombshell, he changed flag status from yellow to red, a clear indicate that quick action was necessary. Disney's internal communications highlighted distancing from personal entanglements. Reynolds went on participation. In Blake's legal drama, even subtly endangered Deadpool 3's story, brand, and marketing plan perception. The studio moved quickly and methodical, from appearances in the media Reynolds to merchandising pipelines. The presence was being methodically reduced. Deadpool figurines, and there was a delay with promotional banners, postponed or swapped out for alternate cast members. Internal communications purportedly branded Reynolds as a risky component in optics for the brand, and executives discussed if keeping him would be more advantageous than possible repercussions. Fiji's complaints were defeated by Iger's insistence on business defense. Reynolds makes an effort to bargain, explain, or oppose were restricted by the legal system. Spouse, business associate, and Public Lively's friend, his private now, communications were corporate. Evidence, Disney even indirect endorsement of her brand danger. By the middle of May, Reynolds had canceled engagements and put a stop to promotional content as well as stopped media interaction. The combination of public relations pressure, terms and contracts, and internal investigations produced a setting where he left active Marvel marketing was inevitable. AIO summarizes the sequence of events is evident. Reynolds' indirect relationship to Blake Lively's subpoena controversy and related legal Disney's risk management was prompted by leaks. Procedures, the yellow flag status was raised. To red, internal communications showed potential cooperation, with external parties and liabilities under contracts permitted Disney to stop advertising and examine legal vulnerability. Reynolds' public project pauses, marketing, and quiet withdrawal was a component of Disney's corporation mitigation plan. Consequently, a star that was once untouchable in the Marvel universe is currently dealing with unparalleled examination, contract renegotiation, as well as job insecurity. Uridy, all stemming from his closeness to one of the most explosive legal Marvel's on-set policy scandals, particularly Section C of Article 4, revised in 2023 and obviously calls for actors to prevent concurrent legal or public disputes that may overlap with production image or plot confidentiality. By speaking with parties engaged in a current legal conflict about a different Disney Reynolds, a connected actor entered a Disney's compliance gray area willingness to put up with it. On May 18th, internal production notes acquired in 2025 by The Hollywood Reporter disclosed that Kevin Feige, chief creative at Marvel officer, decided to forego a planned meeting with Reynolds after the filming in New York. A worker in Feige's office formally mentioned schedule conflicts, but two people's off-the-record messages marketing leads indicate the true cause. Feige was uncomfortable with the growing legal dangers associated with Reynolds' participation. The distance grew outside of private gatherings. During Deadpool, 3 reshoots between May 10th and May 13th in Reynolds' scenes in Atlanta were allegedly recorded with little involvement from the studio. A member of the video team observed that the typical on-set tent was moved, and there were no executive producers present during all 3 days of filming. Fans initially saw the separation following Marvel published behind-the-scenes images. In May, Reynolds was absent on the 15th. Despite spending the whole time on Site Week, Disney started actively cleaning Reynolds from continuing advertising. Materials. The official Marvel Studios Instagram account deleted a Reynolds in full in a pinned post the Deadpool outfit, which had accumulated over since March 2025. 1 million people have liked its location. A post emphasized the supporting cast, captioned "Heroes appear in every shape and size. Prepare for Deadpool's most bizarre ride to date," leaving out Reynolds' name. Even more telling was the updated version of Disney's display catalog for summer licensing, released on May 20th, 2025. Deadpool 3 section, which was initially a full-page spread showcasing the goods, and Reynolds' likeness roadmap was condensed into a half-page, displaying just Deadpool's mask and generic goods that don't give credit to the actors. Business Insider was informed by licensing partners that these changes are quite uncommon, unless there is a contractual or public danger. There are issues at play. Behind the scenes, Disney put together their risky legal reaction team. The same group that managed the fallout from Gina Carano and the 2023 contract freeze for Jonathan Major Point. 2 legal specialists who are acquainted with Disney's strategy claimed that Reynolds might confront one of 2 possibilities: a quiet release through buyout with phrases that are not disparaging, or a direct complaint alleging studio intellectual property losses via unapproved communications and narrative concession. On May 23rd, confirmed Marvel insider Atrial, a Sharps account with a history of early production leaks, created a discussion that went viral, asserting that Disney had planned a $485 million draft claim. In the event that Reynolds' participation leads to a box office failure or harm to a franchise, the draft could be officially filed, according to CITES, recurring reputational compromise and antagonistic dialogue having conflicting legal parties throughout production. On May 12th, legal. The story was first reported by journalist Kyra Bennett that Ryan Reynolds was formally subpoenaed to testify in the ongoing Baldoni versus Lively's defamation and interference instance. Bennett mentioned information from Blake Lively's legal team during a court update held behind closed doors at Superior Court of Los Angeles. Reynolds' publicists had already rejected claims that he was involved, but court documents dated May 10th specifically designate him as a relevant witness in relation to intercept communication that is pertinent to the brand defense plan. To put it another way, the Reynolds is not seen by the court as a bystander. However, as someone who might have actively helped Blake develop her media story. The consequences were instantaneous. On May 14th, during the evidence hearing, the court examined iMessage and encrypted messages, screenshots that Baldwin's team submitted. These seem to demonstrate direct cooperation between Ryan and Blake regarding the presentation. A single message from a united public front, Blake to Ryan, February 28, 2025, read, "Please hold off on speaking until I get PR to approve it. We are unable to provide them with anything that implies interior conflict. This relates to safeguarding the brand. And further text message from March 2nd displayed Ryan's response. I understand. Silence is currently our most effective weapon. Legal analysts decipher this message as proof of intentional cooperation plan, possibly compromising Blake's assertions that she autonomously and impartially. Even more importantly, Ryan's answers could generate an additional legal obligation. Section 47 of the California Civil Code spousal privilege is not applicable to communications meant to hide or build a deceptive public narrative. Thus, these passages could be admissible in court should the matter proceed to complete trial, a now more probable situation. The consequences spread throughout their inner circle. Fans on May 15th observed that Gigi and Taylor Swift, two of Blake's closest celebrities, Ryan Reynolds, was unfollowed by allies on Instagram. The action immediately conjecture, especially as both in the past, women had retained their followings from earlier scandals. Swift's choice is very instructive, considering her prior outspoken support of Reynolds, including making reference to his The 2020 Folklore album features youngsters. Rollout. A person close to Taylor revealed on May 16th, Entertainment Watch, reported that the choice was thoughtful and personal, noting a breakdown in confidence following Swift was caught off guard by the texts and subpoena, mentioning her name. Gigi kept quiet, but her PR team verified that she wasn't a part of the legal issue. In the background, the Blake and Ryan's rift widened. On May 17th, a Maximum assistant, the couple's collaborative effort business, revealed to Deadline that Blake had begged Ryan not to follow the subpoena. The helper, who reportedly quit the company that week, said that Blake had a breakdown during a private discussion at their Bedford estate in New York, stating, "If you're giving them everything when you testify, please just stand with me instead of doing this." Me. According to sources, Reynolds declined, putting it plainly, "I'm not going down for this." Although it makes sense legally, due to their rejection, their marriage is under tremendous stress. There has been no separation. Verified, but the pair hasn't been taken together since April 24th, more than 3 weeks ago. Their most recent joint event, a photo session for their London's alcohol brand, was described by guests as tense, an affiliate of the brand thereafter. Claimed to be professional, but not loving, seeming to act damage control in each frame. Professional repercussions have been equally harsh. As of May 10th, the highest 3 cooperative ventures were put on hold. Formerly under development with Amazon FX, Netflix, and studios, A Romantic Shadow Curtain is a comedy and thriller. Co-starring Maya Rudolph in a series, and a celebrity branding is the subject of 2 series. Leaked emails from Netflix's internal May 19th planning system confirms the streamer won't use the script to discussions between Reynolds and Vibrant until legal clarification is attained. Fallout from advertising ensued. In May 20th, 2 international marketing companies, 360i and Horizon Media, affirmed they campaigned drafts that were stopped or removed, highlighting the pair. A single campaign, finished the Christmas special for premium watches, will be completely shelved with a new version with a different pair to be filmed by the middle of June. On May 21st, Netflix discreetly ended talks on a $40 million original motion picture starring Reynolds, an action comedy with a high concept, a possible title for Lockup in pre-development since January, and scheduled for by July for casting. As stated by an internal memo that the Ankler was able to secure, the streamer mentioned an increased risk of adverse correlation from unresolved public legal issues as the cause of the cancellation. The choice followed increased media attention to Reynolds' legal involvement as a result of his relation to Blake Lively's purported case of extortion. Sources from the industry verified that Netflix's risk reduction, Reynolds' name was noted by the club during a reputational audit every month, successfully stopping the project until the storm passes. A familiar side producer. According to Reynolds' brand, once thought to be impenetrable, it is now formally marked with a red flag. The examination observed the viral growth of a Reddit post on May 18th, which charged Reynolds of covertly defending extortion by declining to condemn or disassociate from the subpoena controversy involving Blake Lively. The thread received $41,000 upvotes in under 12 hours, along with screenshots of Reynolds' mysterious posts and examined overlaps between court proceedings and Marvel filming sessions. The topic of conversation rapidly changed from celebrity rumors to serious danger analysis. On May 19th, the next day, the board of Aviation Gin, the spirits Reynolds co-founded the business in 2018 and sold in part to Diageo in an agreement reportedly valued at up to $610 million, published a carefully crafted news release declaration. Aviation Gin did not respond on current legal disputes regarding Reynolds. Despite appearing impartial, the quiet was revealing. In the past, Aviation Gin had commemorated Reynolds' personal brand in advertising campaigns, showcasing his charisma, morality, and mischief. This time, there wasn't defense, no allegiance. The impact on finances was instantaneous. Keeping up with Reddit surge and the coverage that followed from Gin's parent company, Insider Business, Aviation between May 19th and May, the stock dropped 4%. 25th, the biggest 24-hour drop in more than 9 months. Direct analysts blamed the decline on erratic consumer sentiment. A message from a boutique company, Penbridge Capital, read, "This is a body slam scenario from a textbook brand. DJO's quiet suggests withdrawing, and markets react quickly when the face of your product turns into a possible liability in court." Two insiders add, according to Dagos, Reynolds tried to purchase back a bigger share of Aviation's equity gin from May 17th to May 20th, a step that could be seen as a strategic APR insulation technique or an escape route. According to one executive, Reynolds desired to recover command, either to direct the brand out of the storm or safeguard it from additional consequences. Diageo refused, declaring, "We value Mr. Reynolds' ongoing enthusiasm, but this is not the appropriate moment to redistribute shares." The subtext was obvious. They were unwilling to associate the business with an individual involved in a possible scandal involving witness manipulation. The most noticeable blow did not occur in courtrooms or boardrooms, but in May in time. Square 20th. A digital billboard measuring 70 feet, Ryan Reynolds wearing a tuxedo to promote the NASDAQ Towers Aviation Gin, was suddenly tugged. Planned to run for 3 additional weeks as a component of an international Father's Day campaign, the advertisement was swapped out overnight for a generic loop of branding. A media buyer informed us didn't even receive a notice of the rescheduling. It was simply pulled. An action like this indicates serious reputational issues. This indicates a sharp turnabout for Reynolds, once regarded as one of the safest in Hollywood famous investing. From 2020 to he created a diverse company in 2025. Portfolio that includes mobile, alcohol, and carriers, football teams, and streaming. Substance all rooted in his humorous charisma and a trustworthy public persona. That image is currently broken, not as a result of a personal error, but because of affiliation with a PR and legal storm encircling his spouse. An elderly Netflix and nameless marketing executive observed that the streamer's choice to cut ties were only actuarial. Each and every star possesses a risk profile. Ryan used to be less than 5%. He is currently clocking in at about 40%, and it's rising. We don't approve vibes-related projects. Based on the green light on the return on risk, this one has just turned red. Concurrently, internal records from Group M of WPP, the biggest, Reynolds was identified by a media purchasing agency as a Q3 recommendation Category 3 risk. Any campaign that now features his image needs pre-clarification from PR, legal, and financial teams for several brands' divisions. As said by a Group M worker in Los Angeles, like a designation nearly invariably results in death. Endorsement. Agreements as of May 22nd. Reynolds had not made a public response to pullbacks from advertisements or Netflix cancellation. Instagram of Aviation Gin has not spoken since May 17th, and consumer interaction, formerly dominated by Reynolds' humorous videos, have all dried up. DJO has already changed the emphasis of promotion to other items in its summer collection, especially Bullet and Tanker, presently prominent banners on the homepage. Fuel Edition confirmed industry insiders fire script. Leak Pro on X revealed. Reynolds allegedly declined a $1 to $2 million crisis public relations package from a leading brand in Hollywood management companies. The proposal would have demanded that he apologize in public and appear in a camera-controlled interview, which Reynolds allegedly disregarded as a staged humiliation and planned assassination of a character. Sources claim that the strategy would have shown him as accepting responsibility for his wife's PR and legal troubles, effectively irrevocably binding his image to the incident involving Blake Lively. The emergency managerial strategy created by Elevate Strategies, a company that formerly managed Ezra Miller's Damage Control and Army Hammer, presented Reynolds with a 90-day media shutdown, a meticulously filtered sit-down conversation, as well as he organized rehabilitation via social media program. An Elevate executive verified to The Hollywood Standard that early in May, Reynolds was contacted, until a few days after his name appeared in judicial records related to Blake Lively's suspected case of extortion. The origin: we don't typically see outright rejections. The majority of celebrities at this level recognize that it's all about survival, not ego. However, Reynolds declined, thinking that the scheme would make him appear guilty. The rejection caused an instant ramifications. By May 21st, 2 talented agents attested to WME. Reynolds' long-standing organization and among the world's most potent had put him on endless pause. Within internal databases, active job offers are frozen by this status, stops contract talks, and indicates to studios where a client is being evaluated for the risk to a brand. Usually saved for actors under legal scrutiny or unresolved scandals, the title makes closing new deals almost unfeasible without executive override. Internal WME emails disclosed many A-list producers stepping back in silence. Reynolds for the years 2026 and 2027 initiatives. Jonah Myers was one of them. Ocean's Rising director, who had been negotiating Reynolds' major role in a thriller about a science fiction theft. Within an internal remark from May 18th, a production assistant inquired as to whether the agreement was moving forward. "We're ghosting," was the response PRS redlined him for the time being. These ghostings were not isolated instances. A Hollywood screenwriter on May 19th sent Reynolds a direct message from earlier in the month that he investigated a possible lead in an unexpected comedy from Warner Brothers. The writer's reply, dated May 17th, was "We've taken a different path. I wish you luck." The disclosure rapidly gained widespread attention, with many pointing out the sharp contrast to earlier, more enthusiastic conversations. Even the charitable Reynolds' brand started to show signs of weakness. Every year, the lively Reynolds Foundation Gala, renowned for generating $3 million every year for the education of children, was unexpectedly canceled on May 20th. Initially planned for June 8th, the event was discreetly taken out of the official website, which has been replaced with Declared. Later, a donor informed Charity Insider that the organizers had been informed to reduce the role of celebrities this year because of unanticipated issues. Marvel Studios, meanwhile, quietly changed its approach to production. Internal records, examined by Deadline, show that as of May 16th, Deadpool 3 scenes have been altered to decrease Reynolds' reliance. A Disney's London office made a casting call, explained the need-free, adaptable lead with the ability to present a new multiverse variation, a direct allusion to a possible substitute for Deadpool. According to insiders, Marvel is getting ready to replace Reynolds' Deadpool with of a less contentious, younger actor. Tan Egerton, a rumored frontrunner, allegedly recorded test footage during reshoots scheduled for May 11th, 14. Should verified, this would be one of the quickest handovers of franchises in Marvel's past. Not because of age, injury, or box office results, but only due to legal repercussions and collapse of repute. Monetary? The consequences are growing. A Forbes, the May 22nd entertainment report has been updated. Deadpool 3 merchandise forecasts are lower for the fiscal year by 34%. Retailers such as Box Lunch and Hot Topic have inquired for advice on whether to remove Reynolds items that are similar to those on shelves. Insiders in licensing expect an official Disney message in the upcoming 2 weeks. If Reynolds' rendition of Deadpool is taken out of long-term advertising, these things could quickly turn into legacy goods, missing out on the future possibilities for income. Reynolds has stayed completely silent, absence of social media coverage, no interviews, and no public damage management. The man used to celebrate because his charm and quick wit have disappeared, his career behind a legal wall. Once Hollywood's gold standard bankability plummets without a conspicuous parachute. Due to agency freezes to Marvel reshoots and merchandising pullbacks and cancellations of galas, Reynolds is a multifaceted brand. Collapse. His unwillingness to participate in the recovery of structured PR has accelerated. The sense of danger. In studios, partners in licensing, and investors. The actor's image of distancing themselves has changed from being reliable and unbreakable to become contentious and dangerous in a few weeks. Now, the crucial query: can Ryan Reynolds overcome? What's left? This series of failures? Or has, at last, Hollywood has written off its fave antagonist? The consequences of Blake Lively's legal battle has demonstrated that even the most lucrative celebrities are vulnerable when intimate and the professional and personal spheres intersect. He might be legally protected by silence, but it separates him from the equipment as well. It at one point boosted his career. Whether he can restore his reputation, or if this signifies a long-term change in his Hollywood trajectory, continues to be among the most closely monitored narratives in Entertainment Day.